Alrighty. Let's see. Ta-da. Okay. I am Knuckle Master, and today is a weird day, just because my co-host is at work. He won't be home until 5, but I seriously doubt that he wants to stream today because it's Sunday. Sundays are very rough, but I am at home, and I figured I should play a game and stream by myself today. So, let's get to it. This is a game called RagingLoop, and this game is a work of fiction. It's unrelated to any real people and groups and incidents, etc. This game contains violent, grotesque descriptions and psychological horror. So, it's a horror game. It might be violent. We'll see. But it's a visual novel game, and oh, damn. Okay. Alright, getting to it, huh? But hey, if you're in chat, go ahead and tell me what choices should I make. Because I rather pick your guys' choices over my choices. If no one's watching, then I'm going to pick whatever I want. But, yeah. Alright. Yeah. Okay, let's do it. I did not expect this guitar, man.
ようこそノベルアドベンチャーゲームレイジングループの世界へ。私は単なるどれも足らないインターフェイス的キャラクターです。そうですね。リカコとでもお呼びください。
Huh. Oops. Weird. It's like no English? Alright.
ここでは初めてプレイなさる皆様にこのゲームの遊び方を簡単にご説明いたしたいと存じます。
Okay.
いくつか変わったところのあるゲームですので、最初はぜひとも全部の説明をお読みいただきたいと思います。
Sure.
特に動画配信をなさる方は4動画やシェアについてだけでも
Those
必ずお
uploading
読みく
gameplay
ださい
should
ね。
read videos and sharing selection. Uh-oh.
最後まで読んでいただけたら私のセクシーな画像が見られません。世間は厳しゅうございます。さめざめ。
Okay.
さて何からご説明いたしましょう。
Yeah, about videos and sharing. Please don't sue me.
レイジングループはノベルゲーム。物語や展開やオチはとても大事。ですからそれら全てを配信されてしまいますととても困ってしまいます。さめざめさめざめ。かといってお楽しみは大勢で分け合いたいもの。それは重々承知しております。というわけで私どもは動画配信していただける範囲を設定
How
してお
far
ります。
would like you to upload?
ちなみにその
Okay.
範囲は最初のメインルート丸ごと1本プラスアルファ。具体的にはシナリオチャート上の4潜入の9
Specifically, you can upload until the choice at 4 infiltration Q entering the village.
相当な長さがございますので
That's a lot.
配信のネタ
Just
に
you know,
しばらく
you
困
have
ることはない
every
と
enough
保
content
証
for
い
your
たします。
uploads.
むしろ 全文読み上げる派の配信主様は喉が潰れないか心配です。無理はなさらずゆったりお楽しみくださいね。ちなみに、
Okay.
動画配信の折にはお知らせ機能をぜひともご利用くださいませ。この後現れる選択肢でお知らせ動画配信終了のタイミングで突然謎の羊が出現。ここまでよとお
When
知
you
らせ
reach
いたします。
to stop making a video, strange sheep hops onto the screen and says, "End of the
そこ
line."
で収録はお開きとしていただき、あとは考察やら議論やらをお楽しみいただければ幸いの極みでございます。ちなみに今はオフの状態ですよ。
Yeah, turn it on. I mean, I want to respect your wishes.
また切り替えたいときはゼロ導入のここに来てくださいね。
Okay. Whatever you'll say, lady. Yeah, I don't want to know how to play. I'm just going to jump straight to it.
とても長くなってしまいました。
Yeah,
ここま
yeah.
でそれではいよいよ物が限り
Okay,
な
let's
く濃い
go.
霧と血煙の向こう繰り返される人狼村の真実をどうかその目でご覧くださいませ。
Wait, werewolves?
ペコリ。
Wait, are you saying there's going to be werewolves? Do we have to have this menu, like, on the screen the whole time? Well, now I can't see the text. Yeah, good job, game. Okay. Alright, should I read? Well, I'm lost. Okay. Maybe taking a ride on the unknown road on me wasn't such a good idea. I just followed the roads and figured I wouldn't get lost, but now I was in deep shit. No, cool it. It's not a big deal. I sighed and took a note of the fact that getting lost in my pocket journal and then pulled out a map. Suddenly, a rash of memories flirted in my mind. Well, forget it then. Somehow I kept myself remembering those things. After all, I'm gone to the trip to forget.
ああ、もうやめやめ。目の前の現実を直視。人生はシンプル。つまりこの道のごとく真っ暗で道案内もなく進むか返すか考えることはそれだけ。
Going back wasn't an option in this case, so I just moved forward. Yeah, so in his head, it's an English voice. But when he speaks, it's Japanese. Let's do this. Still, I wanted to know where I was, at least, so I looked down at my map. It was all Greek to me. Last time I seen a sign, it was tied out. It was still light out, meaning that I got lost after the sunset had set. Sure, it was my own fault for guessing where intersections I'd been passing through, and taking me 2 hours to conclude I was lost. Crazy. Just think about it. Just 2 hours aimlessly driving and got me almost completely surrounded by mountains. They extended as far as the eye could see. Flipped the scenery upside down and shook it, unlikely a shred of civilization would tremble out. Besides, the asphalt below my sweet ride and the lamppost drive, the first one in a while, mind you. There was nothing man-made here. The pocket map I had wasn't detailed enough for me to figure out where I was.
進むか。
I guess I'll keep driving. Go as far as I could. Worst comes to worst, I could camp out the side of the road like a hobo. "2 hours. I definitely regretted ever thinking that. Especially camping wasn't an option. A mountain road had no side to camp on. Duh. A dump truck pass barely even fit on it. I also had my first close encounters with the wild forest animals. I already seen 2 boars and 3 deer in those 2 hours alone. One deer ran parallel to my bike, intently stared at me, and I had no idea what to think about. I felt like it could smell my fear, and then it made it worse. And how dare the thing do that to a human? We're kings of the planet. Damn it! I have to remember to eat some vision once I come back to civilization." Anyway, camping out here was a bad idea. I ended up here. Roadkill or animal food. And yet, I didn't back out. Why? Because I was pretty warped sort of guy, and I didn't pretend otherwise. That actually was the reasoning why my once comfortable relationship have gone. What? Are we? Gone to the stupid trip. Still, despite knowledge that I chose to keep moving forward. Wasn't like the place to stay if I went back. I was actually starting to think to experience might make a good conversation piece sometime down the road. It was getting late at this point. Where these roads would take me anyway. It's probably disappointing. Soon enough, the road became flat and I was out of the mountain pass. Forest remained a distant fruit, and I didn't see much. Even so, the street lights and signs were enough to make me feel again nearing civilization. Street lights were right the expression of light in the forest, and I have to look that up. As the road rest rigged, I realized the exhaust I was, and all this bike handling left my hands really sore too. Really had to rest. Suddenly, I saw something unexpected. Powerful, colorful, artificial lights. Convenience store? Show Fresh Market. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. I can't wait to eat some M&Ms. The next intersection between the road and I was another and even a thinner road that could possibly supply only one single car. What's wrong with these roads? The sea of trees ended, giving room a magnificent child of commerce society. Yeah, wasn't it a silk? Oh my god. Apparently even a damn store was a big deal for someone who just out of the wild. It was called Fresh Market. I've seen several of them. A few times during the day. It was probably a local franchise. Building didn't look all that old. At least the parking lot looked like smoother compared to the roads. This is a weird place to build something, though. I was close to the sound. Or did they actually make profit of this of the lost travelers? I asked that or something. Local shopkeeper was bound to know what these parts were. what was around these parts. Not to mention I was thirsty. I was welcomed by a weird charm sound. Sound like it looked like a normal convenience store. How convenient. There were goods on the shelf, a corner on the left, and whoa, dreads. The worker at the counter was mean looking and scary. I mean, with dreads, if you ask me, but hey, she was imposing. I wouldn't doubt someone she was in charge of some lady army. Not with dreads, I mean, okay. Was that supposed to be a greeting? Damn, it was cold. He actually gave me the chills. Was the store shadier than it appeared? I mean, man, you're just being rude. I was about to stupidly overcharge how this place was made a profit and by taking advantage of lost people and basically beating them out of their money. Shit, that was scary. Clearly, the Wonderland had only just begun. Woohoo! I sure was excited for the beating. I grew more nervously and enthusiastic by the second. I braced myself and she looked down at the magazine in her hands. Oh, she was just a slacker. Slightly disappointed, I walked around the store. What? You wanted to get in the fight or something, dude? Is that what you were trying to do? Like, man, I'm nervous. Gotta get in a fight. What'd you expect? There's a small shelf of Eric's drinks followed by stationaries, travel goods, and stationary stuff. Okay. There were sweets that came with toys and shop. Cup, ramen, dry food, a fridge, a freezer, and it all looked normal. No shit. It was late. Daily dish packed lunch selection was completely empty. Special thing about this place was full of unpacked vegetables. Tasty. You expect green groceries? Maybe the rural convenience stores were like this. I was slightly surprised by that. I don't say I travel much, but all convenience stores are the same if you ask me. But anyways, local fine stores, anything and so on. Unremarkable store, I have to say, if you ignore the clerk anyways. I took a drink, brought it to the register. Yep, she was really the highlight of this place. What kind of clerk smokes while they're dealing with a customer? I mean, you're kind of like an annoying ass bitch if you ask me. Are you actually buying? I'm going with her. You're like judging people by their appearance and trying to get in a fight and shit, and you're judging the freaking convenience store like an asshole? Yes, I'm actually buying something. She was the clerk, and she had to be... I had to be her god? The customer? Okay, what kind of self-righteous dude comes in and just be like, I'm a god because I'm a customer? Dude, I don't like this character. 126 yen, said the person. She didn't even scan it. This exchange was the mercy of the clerk. God is dead. Maybe I had to get mad at her. I don't know, bro. I'm with Dreads here. Can you kick his ass? I mean, seriously. No. I quickly turned meek. There. You don't have a map or something? We don't. Man, this woman.
そんなはずはないでしょ。コンビニなんて大体道聞かれるから地図は常備してるもんでしょ。
Hey, that's assuming. I don't know if you ever been to the South that much, but that's how it is. People, if you ask for directions, there are no such things as maps sometimes, and they would just say, "Yeah, it's that way. Go past there. There's a red fence. You take a right, and there's a rock on the side of the road, and it looks like a turtle, and you gotta turn left there." That's our directions around here. Okay, bro? Like, there's no maps.
ないもんはね、おとなしく来た道も。
That rule? We don't have one. Go back where you came from, honky.
もう数時間迷ってるもんで、これ以上はちょっと。
その辺の床で寝てけば。
Sleep on the floor or something, you loser. She had to be
い
joking.
や、お気持ちだけでいいんで、道だけちゃんと教えていただけたら。
ああ、もう。
Alright, alright. Just wait. The clerk pulled out her smoking ashtray and went to the staff-only area. She came back in no time.
あったわ。
Found it. So she did have a map. Of course she did. Even more ill-tempered than usual, the clerk started giving the explanation.
これがこの店。
This is here. This is the store. Go north of the crossroads. You idiot.
しばらくしたら立教があっから。
Find overpass.
最初
Soon
の電柱
enough.
箱に大岩が
Cross
あっ
it.
から
Come to the
そこを
fort
右折
next
し
to
て
the giant boulder. See, that's how we do shit. There's a giant boulder. To a giant boulder. Turn right and head straight. Holy shit. This is where we're at? This is where we're in the south, aren't we?
この道？
Yes, you idiot. Find the freaking boulder and take a right.
いや、この先何もなくないです。
書かれてねえだけで集落が
There's
ある。
settlement. It's just not on the map.
そこ以外なら。
藤吉村まで行くには
I'm about to punch you in the gut, mister.
こっちなら30分で着く。
But there's one about 30 minutes away. Seemed to be a village. Didn't look too far away, but the road leading it was a huge branching mass. It was clearly unpaved mountain pass. I had enough of those for one day. It probably just get lost again.
じゃあ、こっち行ってみます。ありがとうございます。
金
Money.
はい。
払ってねえだろ。
Yep, paid for the tea.
ああ、じゃあ500円。なぜお釣りを無断で募金箱に入れるんですか？
小銭多いとうぜえだろ。
Well, that was one hell of a line. Casually thanked her and grabbed the plastic bottles of tea. She didn't give me a bag, by the way. You could just ask for a bag if you really wanted a bag. I mean, I don't know, dude. It's probably like 3 in the morning. I kind of like you're the person that's being a jerk, expecting a bag at 3 in the morning. I don't know what time it is, but it looks really late. So I drank the tea in the parking lot and looked up at the moon, obscured by the clouds. Still bright enough to outshine the light of the convenience store. The clerk put me in a bad mood. Gee, if that puts you in a bad mood, I can't... Bro. I didn't enjoy the sight. I threw the ball in a nearby trash can and aggressively drove off. What an ass. She didn't give me a bag, so I'm gonna aggressively drove off. God. Following directions, I crossed the overpass and arrived at the first fork on the road. Hey, did you find that boulder yet? The byway she told me was really narrow. I probably wouldn't have noticed were it not for the tall boulder standing like the roadside shrine for a traveler deity. Turning carefully, I got on the road. A minute later, I found myself in a worse wilderness than before. Wild dead leaves covered the ground, tall grass the side of the path, and sky above and blocked overgrown shrubs, making it feel like I was passing a wooden tunnel. The road itself was a huge red flag. I wondered why I didn't just turn around. Exchange from the before. It pissed me off more than I thought. Still, I didn't really expect the road just to end. It happened about 15 minutes in. The view ahead suddenly turned strangely dark. A split second later, the bike tipped forward. Good. That's karma. I reflectively hit the brakes and it was too late. I started going down the cliff. Good. My bike's tilted down towards and suspension was the greatest test yet. I was basically trumping down to the bottom. Good. The headlights suddenly soared on dirt and grass and I knew that I would be flung out of the seat. Good. Ah! Stifling a scream, I tried to work and steer the magic to brake magic slow down without collapsing. Darn it. But it was too big of a risk for a simple road bike. At the bottom of the cliff, jumped higher than before. The suspension couldn't handle the impact, and I was launched into the air. Good. A moment later, I heard a crash and felt the impact and came in unpleasant pain. Good. Karma. Damn it! An accident where I was flung out, and that was the first for me. I mean, you could have slowed down on the road. I mean, you were on the dirt road. I mean, you shouldn't be speeding like that. The launch was really something. I did a 360 in the air and fell on my back. Cool. My breath stopped for a moment and the pain was so bad I thought all my bones shattered. Good. My face was simply pretty fine at least. Though I wasn't sure that it counted as a silver lining. There was grass underneath my hands and I felt it through my gloves that the smell of grain it pretty clear where I landed. I pushed down my hand, sunk in the grass, grow pretty hefty. It probably wasn't the reason why it came out. It relatively okay. Sure, my joints creaked and I stood up and across, but aside from that, I was fine. It was really dark, so I couldn't really confirm it, but I was pretty sure I wasn't even bleeding. My bike, however, wasn't nearly as lucky. I was lying and on the side of the short distance ahead. The engine was still on. The back wheel kept turning, making an unpleasant noise. Yep, it was busted. Good. I walked and killed the engine and took the key. With the headlights off, I surrounded it by absolute darkness. So I just stood there and cried myself to sleep. Oh, shit. I adjusted my eyes. I couldn't see clearly, but it looked like this actually wasn't a cliff. I was still on the road, but it was paved beyond this point. Obviously, a road bike stood no chance against an unpaved road. That woman tried to kill me. No! You dingus! You were driving probably like 120 on a bike on a dirt road like a moron. And you just thought it was a good idea to keep driving like that in the middle of the night and you crashed your bike. Do not blame the woman for taking a different road. That is your fault, sir. Zigzagging through the trees, I found a narrow footpath deeper into the forest. I tried getting my bike up and running again, but instantaneously gave up. Whip. It was partially stuck in the mud, so there was risk of slipping and getting me into another accident. Maybe I should turn around. Oh, now this is the time to turn around. After you crash your bike, you're like, I should turn around. No, I would just kept going. I would just kept going to the village. I'm sorry, but the moment I considered that, I thought I saw a faint light ahead. If that woman wasn't lying, this road led to the settlement. I was close. I reached into my jacket pocket and took out my phone and opened it up. Next you'd expect, I was out of range. No crap. I ran the light app and stowed the lights to see better. Through that it was weak and it was better than nothing. At least it helped me where I was going. I had no idea how long I'd been walking for. But sure enough, I can see the light beyond the shrubs. It was weaker than I expected. A flashlight, perhaps? I could hear the water, too. Maybe I might have been near a river. I raised my voice. Still declaring my presence, I walked forward. It was late at night when I bumped into someone here, and scared would probably take away a few years of my life. That's why I figured that it was the best for us both to let the other know we were here before that happened. However, no response. Could they hear me over the rapids? I showed my light ahead and realized I made it an opening. Sure enough, it was a river, a stream, rather. I could see slightly more than I had, surrounded by trees. Straining my eyes, and I saw a rocky river and beach and shallows. The light was on the other side, what I could tell, either a lantern or a flashlight, and I was close to the ground. I didn't see any people, though. No one responded in the shouting ear. I was expected about it, and I decided to step in the water. The cold water quickly soaked my shoes and socks. I could have taken them off, but I figured crossing a river barefooted at midnight was a bad idea. Man, it was cold. I put my phone back in my jacket, and I need both hands to fill in case I fell. Not stopping or backing down, I walked toward the light. It suddenly became deeper, and the water reached my knees now. It was too close for comfort. Feeling the bottom of my toes, balancing myself, somehow avoided losing my footing. Wow. The flow was fiercer than I expected. If I slipped and fell, I'd probably be washed away. Good. It suddenly hit me, and I was doing something really weird, but it was too late to back down. Putting my hands on the boulder and carefully checking what I was stepping on, I gradually made it to the other side. Then an unpleasant, wet sound in every step I walked up to the light. I could already see it clearly. Yep, it was a flashlight laying on the ground for some reason. Weird. There was not much space here, in the narrow riverbank and the cliff right beside it. As you expect, I didn't see or sense anyone nearby. What the hell? Odd enough, the flashlight was working fine. Strength of the light told me the battery was pretty full. Meant that someone was actually using this tonight, or rather, it was just a few moments ago. The logical conclusion was obviously it wasn't left here yesterday or afternoon or evening. And yet, the user was nowhere in sight, and I was near a river. Something bad happened? The flashlight owner stepped into the stream and got swept away? That's probably most likely or the worst case scenario. However, the flashlight was left practically buried in pebbles. It ain't like someone placed it here to light things up. Sorry. It was the dead of night and there was no way you would notice dropping your flashlight. It was so dark. Right. The fact that the light source was placed in a place like this strange by itself. With that considered, what was going on here? What if someone heard my stupid shouting while going down the mountain and trying to kill myself by accident? I decided to lure me in with a light and try to ambush me. Man, this guy doesn't trust anything, does he? Where did we attack from? Above? Holy shit! I heard a voice, and the moment I looked up, the cliff was actually made of several boulders. Better take a right. There was a face peeking from behind one of them.
こんばんは
That's, I mean, wouldn't konnichiwa be hello? But, okay,
あ
whatever.
あ、人だ。びっくりした。
That was my
悪いん
line.
だけど、それ取ってもらえます？
The voice was feminine. Wow. Already assuming, aren't we? I finally realized what was going
ど
on.
うしたってわけですか
So you dropped this. I picked up the flashlight and pointed out at the source of the voice. High-pitched voice, slender hands shielding the light. Sure enough, it was a young woman.
眩しいな。
Yeah,
失礼
put the flashlight down, you
こっ
dingus.
ちはこういうものですが
怖いです。下から照らさない。
実は当方道に迷っており
A bit lost? I think you're really lost, dude. You lost your bike. You're in the middle of the woods. You fell down a cliff. I think you're more than a bit lost, sir.
だとすると、割と究極的に迷ってます。
Thank you. Yeah, I thought as
ここっ
much.
て人里です。
難しい質問だな。
とりあえず助けてもらえないかと。
助ける？
Don't help this
雨粒を
guy.
しのげて野生動物がいなければ何でもいいんで。
What wild animals, dude? You're more scared of you than you are scared of them. Standing on the boulder, the young woman made a pensive face.
じゃあ打ち来ます？
And that was the collusion. My allergies are acting up. And that was the collusion. The inn where she arrived at, her face told me it was 100% serious. My place? My place. But that surely meant a house, a settlement.
頼んどいてなんですが遠慮を忘れてすがりたい程度には切羽詰まってるんですが
男として？
ええいや違う一個の生命として数時間迷った挙句バイクでこけて心身ともに限界ってわけです。
あらら。なら見捨てるのもどうよって感じじゃないです？一個の生命として。
Please do. I don't like this guy. And so I was saved. Oh, the beauty of living beings looked out for each other.
じゃあ手いいです？
Hmm?
ここ一人じゃ登れないでしょ？
I don't know. I couldn't even drive on the dirt road. True, honestly, I didn't even realize I have to. Meeting another person filled me with relief, and I was followed by a sudden wave for tea, and it wasn't crippling though. She extended her left hand, so I grabbed it with my own left. With her slender fingers were stronger than I expected. Dude, you're already assuming, bro. Like, stop doing that. The girl's name was Chai Mei's. You know, I'm not going to attempt to pronounce that. I'm sorry, folks. I feel like I'd be disrespecting if I can't say it right. So, yeah. We'll just call her. Yeah, I'll come up with something. I asked if she was related to that one guy, but she said that her family adopted the name at some point in the Meiji period. She was 21 years old, who went to college away from here. This was her hometown. She was spending her post-exam vacation here. We chatted about stuff that she let me out of the rocket ravine. There was actually a proper path, and the rock climbing was pretty pointless, but I was focused on my footing to comment. She told me about herself as soon as we reached solid ground.
ちなみにそちらは？
名前は久石春明。東京で大学院生やってます。
Hey, don't forget to tell her that you're a
あ、
jackass.
じゃあちょっと年上。
24だから芹沢さんと3つ違いかな。でもまあ同世代でしょ。
We're pretty much at the same age range, man.
知恵みでいいですよ。敬語とかもいらないです。
じゃあ僕も呼び捨てタメ口がいいな。
ですか？
女の子に親しくされてるみたいで嬉しいからね。
Dude, that's like every guy. I mean, bro, like,
なるほど。
can you push him off the
実は私
cliff,
も堅苦し
please?
いの苦手なんで、じゃあ遠慮なく。
I'm gonna call her Chi. Chi, can you push this guy off the cliff, please?
どうぞどうぞ。ちなみにまだ結構遠い？
そうでもないかな。もう5分くらい頑張りましょい。
Well, a lively girl. You could tell that she was used to
た
people.
だ足元に気をつけて。明かりだけ見て。
何かあるの？
この辺石ころだらけで危ないんだ。
Yeah. The moment she said that, I stumbled on a rock too big to call a pebble.
あと今夜はずいぶん暗いしね。
I couldn't even see the moon anymore. Not in agreement, I focused on following the light in her hand.
ちょっと待っててもらえます？着替えちゃうんで。
And so, I just did that. Given this was a mountain settlement, I expected some old wooden house, and she actually lived in an apartment block. It was dark enough to get a good look at it, where the cheap-looking walls, like you expect from an old boarding house for students. Also, she lived on the second floor, in room 202. I heard some raindrops as we were climbing the rusty stairs, but now it was really pouring. Between that, the darkness, and the large tree right next to the building, it was nearly impossible to see what was going outside. I felt like I was all alone in a world of nothing but walls, the door, and the fluorescent lamp above my head. Made me feel somewhat helpless. Oh, come on, dude. You were in a building. How you be, helpless? I mean, it's a lot better than being in the woods in the dark, wouldn't you agree? I distracted myself from imagining her changing. Eventually, the door opened.
上がって。
How you distracted yourself? Did you just play with a pen and just kept clicking it? I mean, or just look at magazines or something? All smiles as she showed herself now wearing sports clothes. It was kind of exciting.
何にもないで
Kind
し
of
ょ。
exciting? Bruh. Come on, man.
何にもないね。
でも冷蔵庫の中はほら。
素晴らしい。
飲みますか。
やったぜ。
Okay. We're just gonna drink. Okay, cool. It was a small room with a low table in the middle of a fridge near the door and a large duffel bag deep in it. There were two old-looking bookshelves, but they were completely empty. Okay, did you just moved? I wasn't bothered one bit, but Eddie Girl's room was a wonderland to me. Dude, are you a loser? It's like, oh my god, if I was just in a girl's room, it's a wonderland to me. Damn, this guy doesn't get out much.
じゃあ大変だった春明さんにお疲れ様。
地獄で出会った仏
Girl,
様に
you can do better.
乾杯。
weighted up our cans and knocked them together and downed them. Hey, it was actually good. The pleasant bitterness and refreshing carbonated made for a good combo.
おいしい。このためだけに生きてる。
その若さでそれはないでしょ
言い過ぎた。愛や将来にもまだ絶望してません。
う。ところが就活という影が迫る。
いややめて。せっかくのビールがまずくなる。
She laughed and took a huge sip. It was pretty clear she couldn't hold her drink. That aside, something really
お誘い
bothered
に乗っ
me.
ておいてなんだけど、
何？
Her cheeks were already red. She didn't handle her liquor as well as I thought. She had a well-featured face and I didn't think it was wrong to consider her beautiful. Sure, her clothes were at least a bit sexy. Bro, I don't know. I mean, sports clothes are pretty damn sexy sometimes. I mean, okay, whatever. I'm not going to get into that. But I could tell that she had some makeup on.
僕は完全に正体不明の自称迷い人だよね。
そうね。
君は年頃の女性、今は深夜、ワンルームの密室で男と二人っきり。
おお。
身の危険を感じたりとかは？
She kept gulping the drink even as she formatted as a response. The very fact I could watch her do that made this a pretty risky situation,
あん
and
ま
yet
りないかな。
それは
芹沢千恵美く
イエーイ。
yay!
ん。問題。ふと気づいたら低層が瀬戸際にもかかわらず、芹沢千恵美は特に身の危険を感じない。なぜでしょう？
Oh boy, what a fun girl! It only made me like her more, increasing the danger
質
even
問
further.
OK？
どうぞ。
僕のことがいい人っぽいという答えはなしでいいかな。
悪い人に見えるってわけじゃないけど、まあなしかな。女の子慣れしてそうだし。
An intentional compliment showed that she actually did see me as a potential
考
danger.
えられる回答は大きく2つ。
I don't know. If I saw this guy, I'm like, this guy's
何
an
が起きても
idiot.
問題ない。もしくは想定通り。
I mean, the guy didn't even knew, like, to be careful to step on rocks. I mean,
うん？
前者はいろいろ考えられるかな。例えば千恵美ちゃんが何かやけっぱちになっていてどうにであるいは十分な自衛手段がある。実は護身術の達人で僕なんか軽く乗せるとかね。
good.
ああ、論理的。春明さん理系だね。
まあそうかな。一方で後者、つまりこの状況が君の想定通りって場合、
例えば、私がエロエロですとか？
Wow. Talk about not menacing words.
酔っ払ってきたな。さて、他には何があるでしょう？
Indeed, what reason could a woman have bring a stranger to her home? It would surely be something
僕の
non-standard
存
like.
在が君の利益になる例。例えばアリバイ工作。君がここにいたと後日僕が証言することで君が有利にな
I
る。
just want to leave this situation altogether.
ああ、ちゃっかり利用するわけだ。
あるいは千恵美ちゃんが恐るべき殺人鬼で僕を酔っ払わせてぶっ
Please.
殺す。
Yes, kill him. Kill
はあ、ヤ
him.
マンバ。いいね。ブッシュブッシュ殺しちゃう。
Good. What kind of sound effect was that? Sploosh,
ちなみ
sploosh.
に前提で出た2つのケースの他に1つあるよ。
あれ抜けた。
うん。私がとってもいい人で 春明さんを助けてあげたい一心だっていうケース。
Was it a time for me to be ashamed of my filthy mind?
いやでもそれで自分が襲われるかもって考えたら。
ああ、襲うって言っちゃったよこの人。
Oh my god, help me!
一般論ね。
She stopped talking and turned red. It was so cute, I thought she was actually doing it on purpose. Man, she was drunk. We were just on our second cans. I don't know, I see 4 cans, dude. You can't. Are you drunk? Are you sure you're not drunk?
ごめん。
この辺りには怖い野生動物が出ます。明日にはこの人はズタズタに引き裂かれてしまうかもしれません。
Yeah, you should have
この
left
まま
him.
見捨てたらとても寝覚めの悪い思いをするかもしれません。
なるほど。リスクと善意を天秤にかけるってわけか。これは
想定外。
I don't know, like,
この人だい
the
ぶ
font
悪い人じゃないかって気がしてきたな。
for this game, it's really hard to read.
そう？
I don't really like the font.
だって善意を選択肢に入れる前に殺人鬼とかアリバイとかエロエロとかさ。
Especially when it's going through the tray and the cans, like it gets really hard to read sometimes.
ヘロエロは君が言い出したんでしょうが。
そうだったっけ？
Oh my god, looping track. What?
これって単なるバカ話じゃないの？
正解者には素敵なプレゼント。不正解者はブッシュブッシュ殺します。
Seriously? Well, I got a choice. Let's see. Hey chat, can you pick me a choice? Anyone watching? No? Okay. Let's go with, you need an alibi.
ピンポーン、正解です。
I knew it.
いやー、だって怪しいと思わなかった？こんな真夜中にあんな場所で何やってたのって。
それは確かに。
あそこで何かしらヤバいことをしてたのはもう確定として、それをごまかすのに好都合な証言者が登場みたい。
おお。
Oh.
あるいは迷い込んだ山中の集落でサイコが襲撃なんて夢があるよね。 C 級ホラーのお約束だよね。
しかもこのクイズ、不正解時のペナルティが殺人という露骨なネタばらしが仕込まれていたしね。
あ、しまった天然だ。恥ずかしい。こいつは口封じに殺すしかないね。
正解商品も殺人とは。
え？じゃあ CM やめます？
やめとく。
Yeah, girl, you should go out with any guy in this game, not this main character. I don't know, man. Anyways, this girl was pretty sharp. She had a way with words and knew how to capitalize on it. It almost felt like she was implying that I couldn't let my guard down just because I was a guy. I admitted that she was pretty damn attractive, but really gotta have more fun talking about lewd stuff than acting on it. What a nerd. Dots. The last thing I remember when I was the last time you pissed yourself while sleeping. Talk. I had to tell her about the time I got so drunk I wet my pants in the middle of the boarding house. She laughed so hard and started to flaunting at them. forating at the mouth and passed out. I woke with a splitting headache. Oh man, morning already? Light poured through the frosted window. How saving works. I guess I'm on chapter 2 right now. I pulled out my phone and checked the time. 7 in the morning. I got to sleep somehow between 2 and 3, which probably wasn't quite enough sleep. At least I didn't wake up in some horror movie scene. Ah man, I wish you did. The building wasn't in ruins, and the girl wasn't actually a skeleton. Though, in a way, it might have been worse. She spread out on the floor on the other side of the mini table, and her breathing was mixed with some weird gargling sound. I hesitated and looked at her. The saint that saved me from hell and last night had puked on the middle of her sleep. Ugh. What was I supposed to do here? As I guess I couldn't really be too harsh on her. Bro, you gonna pull out the charm? Damn, it's only been a night and you're already pulling out the charm? She wasn't waking up. Well, I just do what I could do, what a little I could do. There. Should be soon enough. Good enough. Use tons of toilet paper. Bro, you can't do that these times. Not with COVID around. To clean her mess and flush it down the toilet. It left a stain on the floor, but it was pretty dirty to begin with, so whatevs. I even wet a towel and cleaned her face, even though she showed no signs of waking up. Some of it on her hair and clothes, I figured it best she took care of that herself. First hint of consciousness so far today. I'll be leaving for a bit. While waiting for a response, I walked in the entrance. She didn't have to take a shower and change and all that, so I killed some time outside by just jumping off a cliff. No, it's okay. I step in the still damp shoes with my bare feet. Socks were in the washing machine with the towel she gave me. I wiped my legs and I reached for the doorknob. I opened the door and was greeted by a gust of wind. Raindrops scattered in the leaves of the tree next to the building flew right into my face, making some grimace. The rain from last night was already over, and the sky was pretty clear but desperate, and I noticed the visibility of my surrounding was poor. The building was surrounded by leaves. The old structure was basically buried in the forest, as tall as itself. There were no branches poking the expressive hallway, and it felt like they would reach out and grab me if I wasn't careful. It kind of felt like an overgrown ruin. I turned around and saw the room and Chi as I left him. Yep, it was all real. I closed the door and I realized I was a freaking idiot. There were other rooms in this building which made me wonder they were occupied. Hell, I wonder the same thing about the area in general. I pushed the branches aside to see if there were other buildings nearby. Suddenly, something entered my vision. It didn't feel right. Something shouldn't have been there. The leaves moved and revealed a woman clad in curious clothing. The moment I realized she had opened her closed eyes, our eyes met. Our eyes met. Another strong wind shielded my face from the spray of raindrops. And when I looked outside, the woman was nowhere in sight. Was it an illusion? If not, then what? What kind of place was this? Should have been a real Hicksville. Marginal village. A bunch of actual ruins or illegal in settlement. I have some theories, but I'll set them aside. Seems like a place worth exploring regardless. Went down the stairs and find no sign of a woman or anyone else for that matter. Short distance away from the building I turned, and sure enough it was pretty covered in much in trees. I went to the place and saw the woman. There were footprints in the grass. Maybe I'll find her and if I follow them. It led me to an open area. It was unused and it looked like someone was trying to do something with it, but it's supposed to be a construction site. Even if it was clearly abandoned, there were large rocks of settlement near a prefab. From what I could tell, a landslide forced them to stop construction. The fact that the plant growth still minimal meant to have fairly recently. The footprints seemed to go down the hill next to the site. Following them, I saw something that could be called civilization. There was set paddy fields with houses nearby. It was actually a settlement web relief. I decided to keep following the footsteps and approach the settlement. I came across another unpaved path and currently used by people and cars. It was lined with weeds and bushes reaching up to my waist. Home to caterpillars and grasshoppers among other things. Spiders were no exceptions. There was no shortage of insects. There was a good place for a net. I was particularly scared of spiders and I didn't like them either. I don't like spiders either. At least they were harmless and other web weavers. Or orb weavers. Regardless, I avoided these bushes and just in case I followed the path like a good city boy I was. Yeah, makes a lot of sense why I don't like him. There was a large boulder, you better take a right, surrounded by grass. It was strangely tall, making it look like there was put there by people. On a dewy surface, a gray tree frog, ready to go. After many insects scatter about. I walked a bit further and came across a house with a small field nearby. The field location made it safe to assume that it belonged to inhabitants. If there were inhabitants anyways, I couldn't see anyone. And just like that, just like always, there was grass everywhere. There was another boulder standing next to the house. Better take a right. This was obviously placed there by a human hand. What was the point? Was it a monument or something? No, they're just telling you to take a right, dude. The footprints continuing into the field. Yo, these people do not know how to loop stuff. I just don't like where you hear the loop in and then it will continue like after like 5 seconds. Because that just tells me they just didn't know how to loop something. It's very noticeable. Anyways, the wet mud on the field was full of small, young, but healthy looking rice plants. If you ignore the standing boulders in the area, the place looked like a normal farming village. Take a right. I was both relieved and worried at the same time. From what I saw, they weren't any other buildings besides this one in Settlement. Everything beyond was just mountains, meaning that this place was completely isolated. I was a complete outsider. There was no way things would go well if I ran into a random local. Belated, crouched to hide myself a bit. It was probably the best for me to go back. Chai might have been looking for me. Yeah, you got scared. Suddenly, I heard a sound. I looked for the source and found the speaker one utility pole in the middle of the small plaza. A morning broadcast. I never heard this tone before. It was cheerful at first and it had some parts that seemed really dark. I found it unsettling. Perplexed, I stopped walking and what next made me hide myself. There was a person in the area densely surrounded by houses, but they weren't normal. Holy shit! What was that with the appearance? What was that on her face? Underwear? Though I was a fair distance away, I could see the old woman in a sort of cloth over her face, starkly walk out of between the buildings. Oddly enough, there were boulders there. Boulders even there. Take a right. Even weirder, the fact that she walked up on one of them, lightly joined her hands and bowed her head before it, her face still hidden. And then it was just silence, and I actually looked. She was revering it. To me, it looked like she was praying to it. This is bad. Really bad. I wandered into the settlement with a unique culture, put it lightly. Forget causing trouble. An outsider like me could get killed here. I could just turn around and ran for it. I dashed up the hill, past the house, through the construction site, until I arrived back to the apartment building. Chai looked at a relatively reasonable person. Maybe she could tell me what was up. And it just hit me. She described the place somewhat weird. She basically said it wasn't normal.
あるいはちえみちゃんが恐るべき殺人鬼で僕を酔っ払わせてぶっ殺す。
はあ、ヤマンバいいね。ブッシュブッシュ殺しちゃう。
No way. If she was actually going to kill me, she would kill me like on the first day. What if she was actually the bait and they used to lure outsiders here? Eventually, the broadcast stopped. Chai still hasn't came out of her room. She didn't respond even if I knocked and I called out to her. I didn't have to worry about this, right? That just made my inexplicable unease grow worse. What if this was a trap? I was in a dangerous situation. I had to talk to her. If she was a normal person anyway. Maybe the best option was to run away right now. I wouldn't know where to run. I couldn't remember the path taken here. Though I was pretty sure we went uphill, so maybe I had to go down. I avoided the settlement and went back to the mountain stream. I could escape by following the wild woods. It was the best option, even difficulties considered. Thankfully, I had taken my bag with me. I took out 500 yen note and put it in Chai's newspaper box. It was payment for last night's beer. The moment I turned around and took my leave, the door next to the staircase opened slightly with a creak. I saw an eye glaring at me through the gap. Her high-pitched scream pierces my eardrums. I scream too. Scared shitless, I ran for it. Like a baby. Suddenly, I step into the wet hallway at a bad angle. I fell. Good. Thud, thud, thud.
どうした？
ああ、誰このおっちゃん。
あなた誰ですか？っていうか大丈夫で
The
すか？
reasonable sounding voice prompted me to shake off the pain and raise my head. There were two boys in formal-looking school
大丈夫
uniforms.
ですか？
He repeated the question.
あ
おっちゃん、知恵姉の友達？
あちえみちゃんのこと。
大学のお知り合いですか？お知り合いが来るなんて聞いて。
いや、いろいろあって助けられたんだ。怪しいものじゃないんだ。怪しく見えるだろうけど。
怪しいな、おっちゃん。
どうすればいいのかな。とりあえず名前は久石春明と言います。
僕は織部安永です。こっちは鴨志田近持。
モッチーだ。
Good to know if I called him that maybe you'll stop calling me old man. I was only 24. I don't know, dude. That's pretty old.
それでこっちが。
It's only you. I'm going to diss you every chance I get. You're old as shit, dude.
だって知らない人が。
Apparently, this Hora-chan was the person who looked at me through the gap in the door
と
and
りあえず
screamed.
大丈夫そうだから出ておいでよ。
A moment later, she slammed the door shut. After a few moments of hesitation, I opened it again. Whoa. She looked like a student too, except her fashion sense was exceptionally flashy.
あなた。
久石春明と言って、この近くでバイクで事故って。
それってもしかして昨日の夜知恵姉の部屋に。
あ、うん、止めてもらっ。
She cut my words short and she, with her ear-piercing shriek,
通りで騒がしかったと思った。何考えてるの？嫁入り前の女性の家に不潔。
ああ、うん。それはその通りで、僕もちょっと躊躇はしたんだけど、ちえみちゃんが親切で。
ちえみちゃん？あれなれしい。それじゃあもしかして知恵姉が出てこないのって。ドアに5000円挟んであるぞ。
久石さん、まさか。
違う。単に昨日お酒をおごられたからそのお返しで。
知恵姉の体が5000円ってそんな安いわけないでしょ。
oh my
た
god,
だれてるな。
what's wrong with these people?
ああ、君。
初対面で女性の部屋でお酒を飲んだんですか？そして知恵姉は出てこない。
Crap, I have no allies here.
一体何事？
And the subject of the conversation joined in.
おお、ちえみちゃん、君からも事情を。
Help me, Jimmy John. I'm an idiot. Something was off about her aura. What happened to the lively girl that I been seeing
知恵
yesterday?
姉、まさか。
恥ずかしいとこを見られちゃった。
おお。いや、ちょっと待って、ちょっと。
もう嫁いけない。
Man, what a mess. Through her face was pale and she was actually grinning. Obviously, she had a bad hangover, but it didn't stop her messing around. After calming everyone down, she explained what actually happened. We met in the middle of the night. How she stay out of the goodwill. We drank ourselves silly and nothing happened between us.
いやー、久々に深酒しちゃって思いっきり吐いちゃったよ。春明さん、お見苦しいとこ申し訳ない。
ああ、いや、それはいいんだけど。
I don't mind.
非常識。
ああ、申し訳ない。昨日は本当に疲労困憊でね。
まあ知恵ねえだしな、雑把だよな。
事情も事情だし、年寄りたちも納得するかな。ちなみに会ったのってどこです？
それはね、
下の方の河原だよ。
My words made everyone change their expression.
それはちょっと。
大騒ぎだ。
Big
2
deal.
日連続で2人もだなんて。
もしかしてまずいこと言った？
はあ、まあいずれバレることよ。さっきあれだけ大騒ぎしちゃったから休みず順に知れちゃったろうし。
君、2日連続で2人もって何のこと？
触らないで、汚い。
I wasn't trying to touch her. I wasn't filthy, sure. I hadn't had a bath in over a day, but still, she's probably calling you a pervert,
君、
bro.
何が騒ぎになるの？
タエバあたりが拒否ってなる。
Well, that sounded bad.
詳しい話を聞かせてくれない？
ちょっと説明は難しいんですけど、まあここは田舎なんで町といろいろ違うってことですよ。
This guy was here. Couldn't ignore her, and she was the easiest person to
ど
talk
うす
to.
ればいいかな？
まあちえみが何とかしましょう。学生諸君はとりあえず。この混乱には乗るっきゃない。乗るっきゃなくないもっち。とりあえず行っちゃいな。私らちょっと遅れていくから。
まあちょっと時間ずらした方がいいよね。揉めそうだし。
さすがヤス君、察しがいいぞ。ごめんけど2人のお守りよろしくね。もう知恵ね、子供扱いはやめてよ。そうだ、うんこしてやるぞ。
Okay.
ほらほら行くぞ、モッチーにハルちゃん。
彼らが
Oops,
この
I
建
didn't
物
even
の
read
他
that.
の住人？
Let's see. And so the students walked off toward the stairs. It was easy to tell what sort of relationship they had. Anyway,
そういうこと。学生寮だからね、ここ。
a student dorm in this Hexville? Man, what a jackass. Still, my senses betrayed me. There were other people
ちなみ
here.
に春明さん、他の人と出会ってトラブったりしてないよね。
一応それ警戒してたから。
ならよかった。よし、ちょっとしたら食堂に行きましょう。
あ、朝食？
朝食は今から食べてください。食堂へは一応面通しをしに行くの。
え、誰と？
よそ者が皿長からやってきたってことに文句を言いそうな人たち。
Oh, so like that. Type person, huh?
お世話になります。
いいってことです。その代わり朝のことは秘密で。
そりゃもちろん。ところで皿？
そう、皿長の瀬っていう川だけど、あの辺まとめて皿長って呼ぶの。
いわく？
あの川は汚れていて死人が帰ってくるみたいな伝説がね。
Oh. So that's why they reacted like that.
他にもその手のルールというか。
たくさんあります。 なので基本ちえみちゃんにお任せを。そうそう。
The settlement I stayed was a weird place, but at least the guide was reliable. She wanted me to leave ASAP, huh? That was depressing. She gave me some cup of ramen for breakfast and boiled the water in a small electric kettle. The girl herself was too hungover to eat anything. I did took the opportunity to pay her back for last night's drinks in person, though. Then we made our way to the dining hall.
この岩って何なの？
What the hell are these boulders? Take a right.
一応お守りみたいなもの。昔からあるよ。
よそでは見たことないよ。
ああ、言われたらそうかも。
She led me along on a narrow path and followed earlier. I didn't seem like any cars used this one. It was very farmy, I guess. This also area was littered with those boulders. Dude, take a right. Some were cracked, broken, half buried in the fields. They were clearly religious symbols, but they didn't look like they were important these days. Or were they? If I didn't take a right at that boulder, I wouldn't be here. Now I knew I was safe once again. I was curious about this place.
人だ。
He was working in the field.
お兄ちゃんだ。おはよ
She waved her hand, and the man responded with a froze
う。
midway.
じゃあ行きましょう。
いいの？多分あの人、僕の存在に驚いたんじゃ。
大丈夫。どうせ後で食堂に来るから説明はその時にするってことで。
Well, she said so. As an outsider, I had no choice to rely on her. But this was the part of the village I saw this morning where buildings were more densely packed. I didn't notice it back then, but it was actually kind of weird. Basically, it felt desolate. The wooden bungalows in particular were more or less overgrown, buried in tall grass and other greenery. Just as well I saw the village, someone told me it was abandoned. I easily believed them. However, the two buildings stood out. There was a hall right beyond the hill. It wasn't that big, but it looked grand and well maintained. Another building was obviously the dining hall. It looked a bit dirty, but I could tell people were inside from what I could tell. Mostly a lively place, but in this poor excuse for a community. Suddenly, three students walked out and chatting about something.
あ、知恵ね。久石さん。
サイドおはよう。ちょっと遅くない？モッチーがバカなことばっか言って遅くなっちゃったんだもん。そうだ、僕が悪だ。味噌汁をよこせ。まあ早足なら間に合うでしょう。みんなしっかり勉強しといで。
Half dashing, the three ran up the path we
みん
came
な高
from.
校生なんだ。
そう、山をぐーっと登ったところに分校があるんだ。
やたら不便だね。
それでも
Sounds
み
like
ん
a
な
hassle.
あの寮に住める分優遇されてるんだけど。
She was really straight-faced. Wasn't even a hint for a smile.
気合を入れて入りましょう。
そうしましょ
気合入んない。
We laughed a little and passed the curtain.
いらっしゃい。あら、
The inside was as aged as the outside. It looked well
ちえみ
maintained.
ちゃん、お客さん？
The hostess-looking ladylike asked. Though somewhat aged and fatigued, she was definitely beautiful. The two others beside her. One was an old lady in her 70s or 80s. She probably was the one I saw this morning, and the silhouette matched. The man seemed a bit younger, but in his late 60s. Though, we were just sitting there, and there was a menacing aura about them.
紹介するね。房石春明さん。昨日の晩、皿長で迷ってたのを、千恵美が保護しました。
Their reactions were powerful. The lady gasped, and while the two elders rose to their feet with alarm. The tension was already there for a moment. I walked and reached in its
気にす
feet.
るのもわかるけど、これは単なる偶然です。あの子と違って、この人は素性が明らかだし、バイクで旧道に突っ込んで事故ったって非常に気の毒な事情もある。そんなわけで、我々としてはこの人がちゃんと帰れるように手伝ってあげるのがいいと千恵美は思います。どうですか、皆様方。
After saying that, she fell silent. The ball was in the court now.
まあそれは大変。
The lady voiced a harmless opinion, careful not to upset the old people. It was pretty clear in that who was in charge were the elders. More ways than one.
なんで夜に皿長なんぞ言っとったかね。
虫の知らせかな。前の日にあんなことあったし、眠れなかったから。
そいじゃやっぱり読み人じゃないんかね。
やめ、台場。
From the conversation, it was clearly clear that something had happened before I arrived here. It's probably similar to what happened to me, where she mentioned some little girl. Perhaps there was a child who wandered in here like I did. According to her, that the rapids were a place of significance around here, the place for which dead people come to life or whatever. Oh, this is Tai. She must be the lady the boy mentioned, and Yo Minbito must have seen a term for the dead who came here. Apparently, the primary goal was convincing the elders to approve helping me. Where are you from? Old man's voice to put in detail, mine to put on track.
はい、東京です。
いくつじゃ。
年は24です。
地位より上じゃが。
Older, huh? He chuckled and immediately realized he was taking a jab at me for hiding behind a young girl.
申し遅れました。房石春明です。芹沢さんにも紹介された通り、バイクで事故って迷い込みました。どうやら僕はここでは異分子のようで、変なことを言ったりしたりして皆さんに迷惑かけたくないなと。それで芹沢さんに紹介をお願いしたんですが、僕から改めてお願いします。すぐ出て行きますから、それまでは僕の存在を多めに見ていただけないかと。それと僕を助けてくれた芹沢さんを責めないであげてください。
春明さん。
おそらく芹沢さんはここの常識を外れたところで僕を助けてくれたんだと思うんです。学生たちもみんな驚いてた。
まあ
これでも大人です。自分の責任は自分で取りますし、皆さんにかけた迷惑は可能な限り償います。ですのでどうかお願いします。
ちゃんとしとる、台場。
あたしゃすかんわね。そんなに髪茶色に染めてから。
Shit. I forgot I didn't look very presentable to most traditionalist people.
よそは皆こうよ。はよ返せばええ。
ほいじゃ好きにしなさいね。
I guess I got their half-hearted approval.
あるわき。あるか。うちの孫もあるじゃん。紛らわしい。
あ、 もしかして
そう、はるちゃんのおじいさんの牧島勘三さんよ。
どうも。
I didn't know what else to say, but at least the best of terms so far. Anyway, it seems like we're in the past difficult part.
皿長に突っ込んだか。
いえ、コンビニで道を聞いた後、脇道に入って未舗装になったところで滑り落ちて横転しました。
で、皿長登ったか。なぜ途中で引き返さねえ。
He wasn't impressed by my choice of actions. It just hit me that I had no idea how much time passed between the crash and meeting with Chai.
わしと匠で見てっちゃる。
匠は他を見よるわよ。
耐えば追い出すと思うて手伝わせ。
カンちゃんはいっつもそうね。
ばあちゃん、おやさん、どうした？
Holy crap! This guy's jacked. We're joined by a new inhabitant.
知恵に、こいつは？
あ、匠兄ちゃん。
Oh, so he was the one who we saw in the field. Wow, he looked big from up close. He sure looked big from up close. And all that field work was good for his muscles, clearly. That's what you could tell from his... He was in his 30s. As she introduced me and told him of my situation, I found out his name.
ああ、そいつは災難だったな。ああ、おやさん。
わしとお前で拾う。
だな。ばあちゃん、こいつ助けっからちょっと待っててな。もう農薬は巻き終わってるから昼から草刈るわ。
匠は優しいね。
こんなもんなんでもないって。すぐ何もなかったようにできるからよ。
そうね。
Nothing, eh?
お兄ちゃんや。
え、僕ですか？
ここは休みず言うてね。あんまりええ場所じゃないんよ。
It was the place that wasn't good. Not my presence
私
here.
らもよそのもんが苦手だし、よそのもんも触れんがええ。だから、はよ出てお行き。
はい。
So that's the plan.
話はついたからな。
うん、ありがとう、匠兄ちゃん。
I was beginning to understand how things worked here. Although Kanzu's voice was the most powerful here, it was also important to get Tayson's approval. He probably in charge of tackling the settlement's practical problems, while she was doing the spiritual, moral direction. It was time to be when it was time to be civil and convinced and enacting like immediately. It took like understood something.
はい、ここらで一つどうぞ。
The lady brought me some tea. The old folk, perfect timing.
かおりさん、俺には飯頼むぜ。
Ah, that was her name.
朝早くからお疲れ様でした。
なーに、安水とばあちゃんとかおりさんのためならへでもねえよ。
Those two seemed to get along. They looked about the same age too.
お客さんもご飯にされます？
あ、いえ、いただいてきたので。
それじゃあお茶をどうぞ。おにぎりでもお出ししましょう。
ああ、それは。
ごめんなさい。ちょっと急ぎで電話借りていいかな、香織さん。
それはいいけど、お茶くらいは。
うん、ありがとう。でも本当緊急だから。行こう、春明さん。
うん。
It didn't look like I could say no. We went up the nearby stairs and seemed like a living space. at the end of the creaking hallway. A black rotary phone, a rarity in this day and
これ
age.
がこ
True
こ
indeed.
安水唯一の電話だから。ち
Seriously?
なみに携帯電話はどのキャリアも通じませんので。
そうなのか。でもどこに電話しろって？
ロードサービスとか保険とか、あと必要なら家族にも連絡。
Oh, that makes sense. Hell, I should have been the one to say that.
さっきも言ったけど、
Yeah, because you're
で
an
きるだけ
idiot.
ここを早く出られた方がいいから、使え
At
るものは
least she's
何でも
thinking.
使いましょう。
よそ者が歓迎されない場所だから？
そういうことです。
それ以上の詮索は無用と。
春明さんはとっても察しがいい。それはいいことだと思う。ただ好奇心もとっても強く見える。
バレたか。
バレますとも。でも正直あんまりいろいろ首突っ込まない方がいいかも。
どうせすぐに別れるんだし。
その通り。
なんだか寂しいな。
お、ちえみちゃんのメアド御所も
くれるならぜひ。
If you're willing to
やっ
give.
た。これで男友達53人目。
God, 53 on
テン
the
ション
list.
ガタ落ちですわ。
We still didn't exchange our info. I could only hope, being that number 53 wasn't a big problem as it
それ
sounded.
はともかく、個人的興味で言えば何が問題になってて、どんな背景があるのか。
おすすめしないな。
なぜかな。
私が不愉快になるから。
あんまり故郷が好きじゃない？
うん、正直嫌い。
ここの人とは仲良さそうに見えるけど。
ああ、それは見えるだけですね。私相当の問題児だったんで、ご年配方とは結構気まずいよ。それにパッと見はわからないいろんなしがらみもあるし、まあ住人自体はそんなに嫌いじゃないけどね。
With that, I stopped trying to pry about this place any further. I backed away before she came to hate me.
あ、でも一つだけ聞いていい？
いい度胸。何か？
室匠さんのこと好きだったりする？
え？私が？
うん。
さすがにそれはないな。匠兄ちゃんかっこいいけどごつすぎるし10以上年違うし対象外です。それに匠兄ちゃんは昔から香織さん一筋だし。
やっぱそうなんだ。結婚してるわけじゃないの？
うん、香織さん未亡人だから。
Well, that seems complicated. That aside, she had been acting a bit strange. Why she dragged me away from the tea? It seemed so awkward too. She's assuming she hadn't been jealous of Coruscant, or simply didn't want her to charm me. But it means that she hadn't wanted me to drink the tea. Why? Also, why she fed me a cup of ramen if I could have just gotten the food at the dining hall? Looking too deep into things were a part of nature, though things were never as bad as I assumed. I went on to call in my insurance company, where I found out something. Apparently, this village was hundreds of kilometers away from the nearest service station. Means it was ineligible for the normal service. I had to pay extra. And the extra was no small amount too. It actually went over 100,000 yen. And I could have avoided this if I'd taken the more expensive plan. That it was all my own fault for not taking the bike salesman advice. Shit. Yeah, good job, idiot. I said I would consider it and hanged up. Then I went back to the dining hall.
あれ、おじいさんたちは？
Where'd everyone go? Customers had changed completely. We're all gone now. Replaced by... Okay. Okay, we just start cussing the people out. Shouted at me, he seemed like he was trying too hard. He slammed his ball with chopsticks on the table and stood up to imitate me. Please beat the shit out of him. Wanna go?
初対面の方になんて口の利き方を。
うるせえババ。おいチェネ、そいつ誰だよ。
バイクで事故ったり。
I agree. The boy's introduction was half-assed.
改めてこちら織部香織さんと次男の吉嗣君。
安永君って朝の彼？
そう、よく見たら似てるでしょ。
It's a predictable family.
言ってんじゃねえよ。うぜんだよ。うっせえ。
そう言われてもな、モテちゃうからな、ちえ姉ちゃんは。
And all I've seen was the confidence was, well, justified.
どうしよう、春明さん。バカは否定できないかも。
なんと、ちえみちゃんはバカだったのか。よーし、バカバカ。
ひどい。
言ってやろうぜ、吉嗣君。バカバカ。
なんなんだよてめえ。チェネバカにしてんじゃねえよ。
You're pretty conflicted, aren't you?
ごめん、ちえみちゃん。本心じゃないんだ。
おお、見事な連続手のひら返し。このちえみをあっけに取られさせるとはなかなかやるな。
ちえみちゃんには負けないぜ。
付き合ってんのかてめえら。
Boy, did I wish. Boy, I'm not gonna let you. You don't deserve this girl, bro. You're an idiot.
うるせえ。行かねえよ。
Mumbling and something, the kid walked out of the dining hall, leaving his half-full bowl behind
ご
him.
めんなさいね。お恥ずかしいところを。
根は素直ないい子なんですけどね。
Yeah, I could actually see that somewhat.
ところで、牧島さんとムロさんは？
あ、もうバイク拾いに出ましたよ。
まずい。追いかけないと。
うん、場所は分かってるみたいだったし、大丈夫じゃない？
いや、一応ニュートラルにすれば押せるけどさ、操作わかるのかな。あとさすがに手伝うべきでしょ。作業が非効率になっちゃまずいし。
その程度なら手出しはやめときましょう。
なんで？
取りも直さず、春明さんがよそ者だからです。長時間一緒に歩くのはちょっとおすすめできない。
問題になりそうな人たちには思えなかったけど。
そりゃあ2人とも大人だから。でも基本的にこのちえみほどオープンな人はここにはそうそういないからね。春明さんは平気かもだけど、一緒にいると向こうがストレス溜めるかもしれない。ただでさえ今普通じゃないから。
まあそうね。任せろと言われたら。
そうなんですか。
ええ、安水には安水のやり方がある。男の人たちはそれにこだわるから。
Visitor should have behaved like one, but doing anything more would have been uncalled for. It was old-fashioned way of thinking, but this old-fashioned kind of place for sure.
じゃあ、どこで待とうか。
うちに戻って待ちましょう。
Expected as much, but still made me curious. Normally, you would expect to sit around and drink some tea right here, so why didn't we? As we waited, she casually but comfortably told me several things. First, I found out the people in here were a bit on edge right now. The reason is that the fact, including me, that the 3 whole outsiders here. Assuming that this myself knew so far, apparently, yesterday morning, a little girl was found straying around at the rapids. They couldn't even find out her name, let alone her parents were. So they didn't know how to handle her. For now, one of the inhabitants is looking after her. I would like to be told about superstitious habits, saw by her as a bad omen. Suggested leaving her to the police, but Chai's didn't seem that was a good idea. It barely makes sense to me, but if we believe her, things around here were such a not even the cops could do anything. That sounds bad. And apparently, the remaining 2 outsiders were a pair of journalists gathering for a magazine article. Unlike the girl, they came to here from a normal route through the, therefore considered a bad omen or whatever. Still, even normal outsiders put people on edge. Though this talk got some details their area itself. It was a settlement, a part of the... Yeah. And also been on the map showing at the store. It was split across 2 areas and were separated by a mountain. Look at an hour by foot, 20 minutes by car, or winding down path road. Side note, the school students was words. These 2 settlements ties so strong that they share customs and culture. She said that the local seasonal events were quite unconventional. I asked her to elaborate, but all she said was that she had a special meaning. She was making me more suspicious than I wanted to be. This conversation was not nearly as exciting as I thought we had last night. But at least I found that she didn't have a boyfriend right now. Very intriguing. It was nearly noon and Takumi-san came back, ending my waiting game. Side note, the doors were fully open the entire time we waited, and probably saying that nothing bad was going to happen here.
バイクってのはおめえもんだな、おやっさん。
去年取ったし仕事じゃねえ。
Didn't expect him to carry it here. I'm sure the 2 of them were just much mass and they have to have a tall haul a 200 keg piece of metal so easily. Unpaved road and the river made sweetly ride really damn muddy.
滑車があんだよ。たまに下から物を引き上げなきゃなんねえから。
おい、匠。
と余計なこと言ってる場合じゃねえ。これ大丈夫なのか？だいぶ水に浸かっちまったみてえだけど。
どうかな。見てみます。
じゃああとは任すぜ。おやっさん、結構かかっちまったから研ぎ直しは明日まで待ってもらえっか。
うん。
Now then.
とりあえず一人でなんとかなるかやってみるよ。
I'll see what I can do by myself first. Got really mad at me. She didn't want any mud on the ground here because it was corrupt or something. But this plaza was the only place and easy access to water supply taps, so I did my best to convince her to let me wash it as close to the edge as possible. Once it was clean, I started checking what was wrong with it. It was actually looked pretty good, bent in places. I'm sure it got rid of the bad sound wheels it made. The only problem that both tires were flat. Good. And that was a pretty big one.
持ってきてないの？
うん。
普通バイク旅行とかって持ってくるもんじゃないの？
いざとなればロードサービス呼べばいいかな的なノリだったんで。
不準備。
And you're an idiot.
返す言葉もない。正直やけくそで出発したから。
お？事情を聞いてほしそう。
彼女に振られたんだよ。
なんか嘘っぽいな。
It wasn't.
それはともかく。
Sad.
タンク修理道具か。
Probably left you because you're a moron.
野里屋敷ならあるかもしれないな。
野里屋敷？
うん。安水で一番大きなお家。野里屋敷にないものは休み。
なるほど。じゃあそこの人にお願いしに行こ
う。実はあんまり会うのはおすすめできないんだけど、背に腹は変えられないか。
また偉い人が登場？
その上ちょっと人格的にね。
From what I could tell, it was located at the highest point in the settlement. Like you said, it was definitely a hell of a building. Yeah, elegant Western design. It probably even looked better if the place was well maintained. Man, why you gotta be a dick like that? The yard overgrown, the building itself pretty in ivy and small trees. If someone told me it was cursed, and I would believe them. Did people actually live here?
インターホン生きてるかな。
Quiet place and the bell ring inside.
もう一度押そうか？
やめとこ。何度も鳴らすと心象悪いから。
そんなに気難しい人なの？
そうね。気難しい。いい表現だ。
I wasn't sure what she meant by off to the just waiting, rather to ask more questions. Soon enough, the person walked out of the mansion.
なんだ？誰だ？
He wasn't young. He didn't look middle-aged, and certainly high-strung to make sure his presence.
芹沢です。
知っている。芹沢千恵美。そっちの青年は存じ上げないがね。
春明さん、こちら野里清之助さん。清之助さん、事故車の久石春明さんです。
は？なんだって？
というわけで、早々にここから出ていくためにも。
I'm gonna use the restroom real quick, but I'll keep it on auto, so. Yeah.
チューブですかね。一応パッチもあるがね。チューブタイヤだったら素人には難しいんじゃないのか。できるならいいがね。なあ、チューブがバーストしてたら交換するしかないが、替えはさすがに持っておらんよ。譲る義理もないがね。
すみません。ちょっとそのあたりあんまり詳しくないまま乗っちゃったんで。
ちょっと話にならんね。おとなしく何十万だかの勉強料を払って拾ってもらうのをおすすめしよう。
野里さん、多分ですけど今の時期これ以上よその車がここに入るとか良くないんじゃないです？
はあ？君は間違いりだろう。未だにそんなもの信じてるのかね？
私はともかくじいさまばあさま方がちょっとここ数日やたら外来者多いですし。
安水の連中の事情は知らんよ。私にどうしろと？油まみれになってパンク修理しろと？
いや、
そこまでなくても藤吉の長者として困ってるマロードを助けるのにお力添えをいただけないかと。
困った時だけ長者を耐えるのではなく、安水流のもてなしでもしたらどうかね。崖から突き落とすんだったか。
いや、そんな言っちゃダメですよ。
本当お恥ずかしい限りなんですが。
Okay, I'm back.
道具だけ貸してもらえませんか？
なんだ？
道具やらキットやら。
Alright, I think about 5 more minutes. I'm gonna stop the stream. That'll be like 2 hours of gameplay, and you got the idea.
下手に物を破損させたりしたら弁償してもらうぞ。学生だか知らんが、きっちりしてもらう。
And then he pointed me to the garage, and I walked back to the mansion.
なんとかならない気がしてきた。
春明さんかっこ悪い。
バイク乗りならスパナ1本で何でも修理してみせろと。
まあわかりませんけど、なんかそういうメカに強い感じ出したらグッとくる女は多いのでは。
じゃあ野里氏にはグッときたと。
いやー、どうせ知ったかぶりだから。あの人多分自分じゃ整備もできないよ。筋金入りの裏なり病態だし。
じゃあなぜバイクの整備用品なんて。
野里屋敷は上藤吉にある野里家のもっと大きいお屋敷からいらないものを運んで置いとくような場所らしくてね。5、6年前に清之助さんが単車買ってもらったけど、ろくに乗りこなせなくてお蔵入りにしたとか聞いたことある。
Damn, that's the countryside for you. Couldn't hide your shame if your life depended on it. Anyway, now I knew that the man was condescending, pretentious type. He still helped me out, though. It was true that I didn't know much about bike repairs, so I couldn't get really mad.
そうと決まれば使えそうなものは全部持ち出してやろうぜ。
さながら山賊のごとく乗った。私邪魔じゃないかな。
いや、適当に話してないと気がめいるんで、相槌打ってくれるだけでも助かる。
お兄さん大変そうね。ちえみちゃんもよかったら食べてね。
ありがとうございます。
なんか大ごとになってんな。機械っつうのはやっぱダメだな。
まあ壊れさえしなきゃ文明の利器は便利だけどね。
日暮れまでに治りそうかい？
厳しいかも。最悪なんとかするから安心して、ばあちゃん。
Really appreciate how she handled the visitors in my stead.
なあ、知恵ね。バイクって免許簡単に取れんの？
どうだろう。原付なら簡単よ。私も持ってるし。
中型大型の二輪は結構面倒よ。
Mid-sized bikes are pretty hard to get, even if you take a course. Just like cars, you like
バイ
bikes.
ク好きなのかい？
Pretty hard. I think you're just a moron if you think getting a license
こ
is
れは
hard.
新車で80万くらいかな。
たっけはたっけバカどうやって貯めんだよ。
まあバイトとか頑張ったから。
そんな新車が事故ってなんて。春脇さん気の毒。
千恵美先生、さっきから気にはなってたんだけど、差し入れ僕の分は？
生思わず全部食べちゃった。春明さん気の毒。
Wanted to fire up as fast as I could. Suddenly I heard the engine and felt like it was mocking me. Hold on. An engine here? Stop working to turn this van drive into the plaza. Classic looking piece of junk. Garage is the first time I've seen a car here. As far as I knew, no one was living here and owned a running car, so... I knew it. Once the fan stopped, the lady stepped out of it. Alright, I think I'm gonna call it a day. I guess when you get to chapter 4, things actually get interesting, so they didn't want you to see like the horror stuff, and that's probably the good stuff. But I guess they just like were totally okay with people like recording and streaming off the first 4 chapters, which I mean, like, I was hoping we can get straight to the horror stuff, but I mean, this is okay because the world build. But since they don't let you stream the good stuff, it's kind of like, well, I mean, it's kind of boring, don't you think, for just streaming that? I mean, it's not even like choices so far. It's just, yeah. Anyways, you get what I'm saying. But it seems like the main character is like a jackass. I mean, to me, he sounds like a jackass, but I don't know. I wasn't a city boy, so I don't really know what that kind of lifestyle is like. But definitely don't like people calling Hicksville, or just because it's outside of the city, like trying to treat us like we're uneducated or something. But hey, it's just a game. I don't care. But I mean, this guy just sounds really. I don't know. I can't really relate to him. But other than that, the other characters seem interesting, especially the chick, Chi-chan. I mean, she's pretty cool. And I also like the old man and the big guy. And the other characters, not so much. Maybe the old lady. She'll probably get crazy here and there. Like, we'll have to see. Little girl's mysterious, and good God, gigantic dude just hit the screen. Alright, I think you get the idea. The font is kind of hard to read. I don't like the button prompts in the menu the entire time. I don't know if you can get rid of them, but it would be nice if you could. But I do like the fact that it has keys and like what choices. Yeah, so like it definitely helps you to actually complete 100% the game. So that's actually nice. And then it has the chart system, so you can see where you're at in the story. I like that. I mean, it's definitely trying to build you on the whole world and of the story, and see how this all comes crashing down in the near future. I mean, it did mention werewolves, so I'm totally like, it mentioned werewolves in the intro song, so I definitely want to see how that goes. But again, I'm not going to go despite the creator's wishes to stream the rest of the game and spoil it. I mean, if you're interested because of this video, I'm glad. I mean, it's a relatively cheap game. It's like $20 new, I think. And then if you see it on sale, it's probably be around 10 or even less. So, I mean, if you like what you see, I mean, the artwork looks nice. The main character, I mean, I don't like most main characters. They're usually dry as bread. You have to dunk that bread in either milk or water to make them more interesting. But maybe it gets better. Yeah. Anyways, I will stop rambling here. So, yeah, let's see.
何かご用ですか?
Oh, maybe something's going to happen here. We'll see. I hope he just strays will attack him or something. That'd be cool. Nah, he's probably gonna be like, "Oh, it's coming. What's coming?" Just says nothing about it.
Nani ga kurun desu? 何ですって?
狼が来るぞ
Ah, see, look at that. The wolf is coming. Okay. Well. Okay. Well, things get interesting now.
何が遅かったと?
おじいちゃん、知らない人にはああやっていたずらするんだよ。
え、あれ、ちえみちゃんの?
いやいや、本名は知らないんだ。昔から休みずにいるおじいちゃんだけど、昔からあんな感じ。
ボケてるというか、ちょっとおかしいのか、あの人。
うん、みんな狼じじいって呼んでるけどね。
狼ね。
Oh, look at that. They actually mentioned wolves. Yeah, we'll see what happens now. I don't know, maybe I'll just keep going until I hit chapter 3. I'm hoping to hit chapter 3 soon. Because that would be a good stopping place.
嘘、あんなにダメっぽか かったのに。
悪かったね。まあこれを組み立て直すって大仕事がね。
You know, I also thought about this kept going until the she popped up too, but there's no telling how long is that.
長居するとまずそうなのはよく分かったし。
そう、よかった。
She didn't seem to care that much. Guessing I had no choice, no chance with her.
大丈夫？疲れてない？
昼食休憩の機会が誰かさんに奪われたこともあってね。
代わりにクラッカーをあげたじゃないですか。
Like that, it was enough to stake the guy in his mid-20s.
まあ僕は大丈夫。もう一頑張りする。君ももう行っていいよ。大体の人とは顔合わせしたような気がするし。
多分あと2人会ってない人がいるかな。もうちょっといるよ。どうせ暇だから帰ってきたわけだし、することもないし。
52人の男友達と遊ぶ選択肢はなかったの？
全言撤回。暇したいから帰ってきたの。街暮らしは面倒も多くて、52人からのメール攻めとかさ。
そっか。
ごめん、52人です。
なんでそんな嘘を。
春明さんに対する牽制？
Why should you pull a tactic that one to only to reveal her? Now she asked me that.
本当だって。
そっか。
なんならこれ。
I play my own card.
え、これって2人乗りなんだ。
もちろん。一応タンデム用のヘルメットも吊るしてきてるし、まだ乾いてないけど、僕はこのままここを出ていくから、その便でちえみちゃんも外に出るのが都合良ければってことになるけど、ついでにロングツーリングしてみる？時間さえあればどこへだって行くよ。
It was a good date. Invitation, if I say so myself.
いいね、素敵。都合問題ないよ。じゃあ、荷物まとめてくるね。
She smiled and turned her head to the place. Then she looked back.
ちえみさんの気が変わらないうちにね。
はいはい、もちろん。
Well, that made me more motivated. One tiring trip will make anyone good along the way. Just forget everything and just want to remember while on the road with her. Could only hope that clever girl will eventually grow closer. With that interior motive, I resumed rebuilding the bike. After failed attempts, made some good progress, put the bike together. Still on chapter 2, huh? You know what? I think that's a good spot. Okay. So, yeah. I'm gonna blue ball you. Or just like end it right here and be like, oh man, he's about to get a date with the girl. And then it's gonna get late. Yeah. I'm going to keep your curiosity now, and I'm going to end it right now. So I hope you have a good day. Sorry it wasn't near. Maybe if Shadow feels up to it, we'll start streaming near tonight, or even Mega Man 03. But I just feel like today should have just been a little bit different. I was trying to look for another game that I can play without Shadow while he's at work. But it seems like this game doesn't want me to do that, so I need to find a totally different game. If you happen to be watching this video, give me an idea what to stream. Just anything. Because I don't know what to stream now, since I don't want to break rules with them, so either way. I respect people's artistic choices because I'm an artist myself. Anyways, let's not get into that. I'm just going to end the stream. Have a good day. If you like it, hit like. If you're new here, hit subscribe. If you want to watch more live streams or real videos on this channel, yeah, hit subscribe. If you want to be notified for future videos, hit the bell. If you dislike it, tell me why in the comments. Or if you liked it, tell me why in the comments. I stream once a weekend, sometime on Saturday or Sunday. I'll be here again. I don't have a set schedule. I know, I should fix that. But anyways, we'll see you next time. Have a good day. Alright.